Hello everyone and welcome back to Spookier Celluloid, the site of Spooky Celluloid that's a tad bit spookier. And today I'm talking about a Hong Kong flick, which you might be surprised that this isn't on my main channel because I really like to talk about Hong Kong flicks, but this one's a bit too different, a bit too tame, a bit too tame. Yeah, I was gonna say goofy, but it gets pretty dark pretty quickly. But it's 1981's the the why do I add an H to that? That's just me being French. The Imp, which is directed by Dennis Yu, and it stars Charlie Chin, not to be confused with Charlie Chan, and there's also Charlie Chinless, that's just Leafy who is here, and Hua Hui. Um, and as you can see, this is a tape. This is not a legit release. This is a bootleg that I picked up in Tennessee from the people at King Gorilla Video, and this is like an ex Disney clamshell because when you open it, you get the Disney video collection, and some of you might be surprised because you're probably wondering, "Wow, Spooky! I didn't know you collected VHS tapes," and I don't. As I've stated multiple times, I do like VHS the format because it displays artwork so well because it's so goddamn huge, especially these clamshells. But I'm a movie fan and a movie physical media collector first. So this just happened to be a bootleg of a movie I really wanted to see, and the only way I could see it and the only way I could own it physically as of now was on this VHS bootleg, so that's why I bought it. Also, I have a VCR, so why not buy tapes from times to time? I don't collect tapes as much, but when the opportunity is there and the price is right, I jump on it. Especially for these old Hong Kong movies that don't really have any legit releases here, which, oh boy, do I wish this one had a release here, because I'm sure on Blu-ray or even DVD, because I still like those too, it would look a thousand times better, and it might actually improve the watchability of this film. It's still a really good movie. I'm just saying that VHS doesn't lend itself well to very dark scenes, and this one is quite atmospheric and quite dark at times. Again, not really in subject matter, but in cinematography. There is a lot of play with colors, which I adore, especially, when it's shot on film from the 80s, kind of that Suspiria kind of vibe with the green, the red, some blue in there. It's really well done. It's a really well done film. So a Blu-ray would actually help, but at least I have it in my hands. I have it in my collection, so I can't really complain. The only other issue with owning a movie on VHS, a subtitled one, is that goddamn our subtitles not clear on tapes. But again, it's might be my fault because I'm watching these on a modern 4K smart TV with like a shitty Amazon adapter. Probably if I was watching this on a old CRT TV, it would probably look better and the subtitles would be more readable and less pixelated. I've spent the 4 minutes talking about format. This is why you're subscribed to this channel. If you want coherent, sensical edited videos, go watch my main channel, not this one. So what is this movie about? Well, it's fairly stereotypical for a Hong Kong flick, especially a pre-Cat 3 Hong Kong film. But what was nice is that it was set in modern times. A lot of horror films from the 80s from Hong Kong are set in like a past, like feudal China, but this one was actually set in modern Hong Kong. We follow this character who has a wife who's pregnant because again, Hong Kong films really like to be about pregnancy horror and the horrors of pregnancy, which understandable because making babies is scary. Not the act, but all the like body things for 9 months. Uh, so yeah, it's just a very common theme in a lot of these Hong Kong films. That just character is pregnant, and it's the baby's getting possessed by the devil or some sort of ghost, and this is exactly what this is about. So yeah, so we follow this guy. He has a difficult time finding a job. He can't find a goddamn job. He only has high school degree, and we see him in an interview, and he's not particularly confident. He's not particularly super smart, or he doesn't really have any trait that would make him, the number one choice. He's just, your regular guy. Not particularly great at anything, but not particularly terrible at anything. However, he can't find a job, and he needs one to, especially because his wife is having a baby. Babies are expensive. I mean, like, to make them live. I mean, yeah, they're expensive if you want to buy a baby too on the black market, but it's not what I'm talking about. But yeah, eventually he gets this weird thing. He's reading a newspaper, and then a gust of wind shows him an ad for a position as a night security guard in this building. And that's where the movie starts to get funny. Not funny like haha funny, but a lot of strange things seem to happen or to our character on his new job. One of them is that his coworkers simply start to die off. Why is that, you may ask? Well, it's because you see there is a ghost in the basement of the building that was waiting for our main character to appear, because I think our main character is born in a really rare time, rare hour that makes him somehow unlucky, and then the devil or the ghosts that live in this building's basement were waiting for the right time for him to go there and also to possess the kid that his wife is having. The first hour or so is not terrible, but it's also not super amazing. It's your fairly standard Hong Kong, there's a bit of family drama, there's a bit of comedy thrown in there, but it's really slow to start. A lot of other Hong Kong films from this era will have something incredibly baffling but awesome happen at the beginning, or like the first 20-30 minute mark, and then a plot builds up for another 30 minutes, and then the last 30 minutes it's just balls out craziness. This doesn't really have any of that at the beginning. There's about an hour of character development, which again is not terrible. It's just not what I would expect from a movie from Hong Kong, especially from that era, but I digress. And then the last 40 minutes of this movie, god damn, there is of course the mandatory wizard fight. There's mandatory amazing lighting. There's mandatory creepy imagery with a ghost baby. And of course, it's just wackiness and goofiness that only Hong Kong films from that era could be. It's truly amazing, and what I really like is the cinematography and the atmosphere. This is like Italian film atmosphere. It's thick, it's awesome. Honestly, this film picks up at the last 30-40 minute mark. It becomes quite an incredible one. Not one of my favorites, I'd say. It didn't blow my mind. It's, as I said, fairly normal for a Hong Kong film of this era. You will not be amazed, well, you will not be surprised or shocked by anything. It's your bog standard kind of magic, horror, fantasy, but modern Hong Kong horror film. Overall, if you can find it, I'd highly recommend it. And if people at Error 444 or Vinegar Syndrome or just any releasing label, 88 Films, the labels that, release these Hong Kong classics, please do us a favor and release this one on Blu-ray, because it truly needs an upgrade. First of all, just for the quality, and second of all, the subtitles were a bit off in this, as they usually are on these bootleg Hong Kong films. But yeah, the release is pretty cool. As I said, King Gorilla, they do an awesome job. You have your typical this tape can melt. Yeah, it's a pretty cool release. I I love the cover. It's amazing. Yeah, I just yeah, this is the quality is pretty good. You can see it's just a normal VHS transfer. Uh, am I forgetting something? It gets silly. I love it. No, I'm not really missing anything. The rating for this one, I'd say it's a solid 7.5. And honestly, if this gets a Blu-ray, it might be bumped up to like an 8, 8.5, or even maybe 9, because it's promising. I just wish I could see half the goddamn movie. But that's any VHS tape. Alright, people, thank you, and see you guys next time.